coming up on the Knowledge Industry Podcast.
There's so much great training out there, but none of that training will work. No strategy will work if you're not consistent. I was definitely not born consistent, but as I learned to develop becoming consistent, it was really the thing that helped me get to where I am today.
So today's topic is being more consistent the key to success, and if so, how do you do it? My guest is Simon Chan, a consistency coach and founder of MLM Nation, a business training company. He's also host of the MLM Nation podcast, and his new book is called The Consistency Pill.
Do you sell online courses or run live workshops? Do you have expertise that can help people in life or business? Are you even running an online training empire from your kitchen table? Then you're part of the knowledge industry, a fast-growing industry that means that you can learn almost anything, and anyone can create a business around what's between their ears. Welcome to the Knowledge Industry Podcast with your host, Mark Egan.
Right, Simon, thank you for joining me. Explain to us where in the world you are right now.
I'm in Los Angeles, bright and early. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me here.
Let's kick straight off with the topic of the day, consistency. So I probably could be accused of being consistently inconsistent. I mean, before we get into your background and everything like that, just in a sentence, what made you want to write a book on this?
Well, I've been, as a home-based business entrepreneur, solopreneur, in the direct selling space for over almost 20 years, 19 years. And, I think you've seen the evolution of personal development and content marketing, where there's so much good content out there for free. I remember when I first started, in 2003, you had to buy CDs. I remember like my first training CD was like $199 for 10 CDs. And I was like, it would pain me to pay that because the only thing back then I knew, I was a young kid. I was buying $12.99 CDs, right, from Tower Records, listening to $99 for a CD set. And I purchased it. And then over the years, I've seen so much great training available for free, right? Anything you ever want to learn for any subject is free on YouTube or on TikTok or Instagram. But people still stuck. And you see this not just in the home-based business direct selling space. You see that in diets. You see that in anything. There's so much great training out there. But what really is missing, none of that training will work. No strategy will work if you're not consistent. And I think looking back at my journey, I was definitely not born consistent. But as I learned to develop becoming consistent, it was really the thing that helped me get to where I am today. Because I definitely wasn't the smartest. I made a ton of bad decisions, bad judgments, mistakes, failures, but the consistency just helped me get to where I am. So that's why I wanted to write a book about it, because I wasn't born disciplined, but if you follow 7 components, what I call the consistency system, anyone can be consistent. So I felt that all the great trainings out there, they're awesome, but none of it will work without consistency.
So going back just on your journey, I mean, I don't know how far we want to go back, but in a sense, you didn't start off in this industry. You had a bit of journey to get there. Tell us a bit about your background and how you came to start in this industry. I mean, I know you said you're a veteran. You've been here since sort of many, many years ago. So what was your background? How did you get into it, first of all?
Well, I was born like a shy, quiet Asian kid from Brooklyn, New York. I was always taught study hard, work hard, and get a job, right? And I was lucky. I grew up in an upper middle class family. My dad was a doctor. My dad was basically rags to riches, no money, studied his butt off, became a doctor. And my brother and I, I'm really grateful. We grew up pretty well in school. But I never had much time with my dad. And he was always busy at his private practice at a clinic. And my dream as a kid was to play baseball for the New York Yankees. And I was a huge sports fan and still am. You can see some of the baseball cards in the back. But I just thought that, it's funny. I wasn't very good in English and speaking when I was a kid because English was my third language. And my parents would say, well, you know what? The white kids, they're good at that. Asians are good in science and math. Just focus on that. And the problem was I was terrible in science and math. So I was like, there's something wrong with me. I can't do English and I can't do science and math. But you just work hard, study, and get a job. And that's what I did. I went to good university and studied. And I actually had a job that I liked, but it was low paying, right? And I was like, well, it's low paying. You work hard for 20, 30 years and climb up the corporate ladder, and maybe I'll get a corner office because all the people I looked up to in the company, that's what they did. And then I read a book that totally changed my life, Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And that book basically taught you, hey, you don't need to climb that corporate ladder. You can have the thing where you have called passive income. You work smart, you get money, and even if you're not working, you get paid. And I actually never knew that concept. No one ever taught me that. My parents didn't teach me that. I always knew about work ethic, but I didn't know about. I was like, what? You can work and not get paid? And then when I learned about royalties and stuff, I just thought, you have to be a celebrity or artist to do that. Then I learned about businesses, setting up a business. So that got me started. I was looking for different things. I didn't have any business experience. I didn't know what to do. But I just, I read his second book, Cash Flow Quadrant. That introduced me to the concept of network marketing. And I was like, what is network marketing? Because a lot of people have a negative perception to it. But the more I learned about it, it was something that was viable for me. Because I also was considering being a franchisee, being a Subway franchisee. And at that time, I didn't have the money. And then while I was doing the researching, I was doing a lot of soul searching. This was when I was in my 20s. I read Purpose Driven Life. Jesus Christ is a big part of my life. And after I'd done the 40 days of exercises and Purpose Driven Life, I felt like God's purpose for me was to have a positive impact as many lives as possible. And I've realized, wow, if I so I got to choose something like that. Maybe this network marketing direct selling thing is the answer. Because even though I'm shy and quiet, I've always enjoyed mentoring and coaching others. Even when I was in college, university, I would help out in my youth fellowship in my church. I used to help out basketball clinics in Chinatown, just getting kids off the street to play basketball instead. I enjoyed mentoring. So the more I just learned about direct selling, that's what it's about. It's about having it, you make sales, but you got to teach and coach others. So I basically jumped into the fire, got started in 2003, went on, did some research, found a company and Googled it and met someone online. That's how I got started.
You talked about your background and okay, you maybe didn't make it in the sports world as you hoped, but what you said that you weren't born consistent, but clearly you've kind of built up, you've by yourself created this success. What do you put that down to? If was it that consistency came over time, or was it just the fact that you had other attributes and despite being inconsistent, you were still able to make it?
Well, I always joke I was never consistent. The only thing I was consistent with was back in university, and hopefully my kids don't listen to this, but I was consistent in playing John Madden football and video games to 4 a.m. in the morning and cutting class the next day. I never went to class. Though actually, the sad thing is the class that I was able to wake up and go to was a 2 p.m. class, and the only reason I got up there was my parents signed me up for dining a meal plan, and the cafeteria closed at 2. I'll go there at 1:45, grab some sandwiches and orange and banana, put in my backpack, and attend my 2 p.m. class. But I missed all my morning classes. And I think God punishes me because even to this day, once a month, I get a reoccurring nightmare that I missed my final exam because I showed up a couple of days late or I went to the wrong room because wasn't in the classroom when they announced the location. And I still, every once a month, I get that dream. But what happened was when I got started, I wanted to have a business. So I reached out, I got started. I wasn't having much success. And I've never done sales or any type of being like my own boss before, right? I think when you're your own boss as a solopreneur, you have to understand you have to be your boss and also the employee, right? The boss means, I love to be my own boss, but someone's got to do that work. Someone's got to do the income producing sales activities, right? And I wasn't doing that. But I remember I was listening to a training call by one of our team will actually have these audios uploaded on the internet, and I'll download them, burn them onto a CD. And I was driving back. I was visiting my parents in New York, driving back on a cold Friday night. And this guy said that, well, if you work for yourself, it's so good. You have the money, lifestyle. I was like, yeah, but I heard that, but I don't have any money, and my lifestyle sucks now. So I'm tired of hearing this. And then he said something. So if you're working on your business on the Thursday, and then you take Friday, Saturday off because it's the weekend. And then Monday, you're dreading your job, so you're a little bit more motivated to work on your side hustle. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, you're taking off. You're never going to make it. And for some reason, Mark, I was there. I remember I was in the driveway, a cold December night. I stopped, and I just rewound that CD and listened to it 10 times. I was like, well, that's my problem. That's why I'm not getting any momentum. That was the day that really changed my life. I decided to, every day, do something. And the first thing was to have a checklist. I had to reach out to 5 people a day. Yeah, ask 5 people to buy my stuff every day, and whether they say no or not, I had to do that. And I was really really bad at the beginning, and then I had some momentum, but a real big momentum come. And I talk about the 7 components of the consistency system. One of them is and it's the most important one, is accountability. I had a mentor that I was just, by the grace of God, he came out and was looking for someone. The mentor came, and because he was looking for someone that if he got going, it was increase his commission check. And he started working with me, and he pushed me hard every single day. And the best analogy is like you have a gym trainer, and he'll push you hard. Not only that, every day, at least twice a day, he send a text message or call me to make sure I was on track of my goals. And in the first 2 weeks, just imagine a gym trainer. Not only are you meeting the gym, but afterwards, are you eating properly, Mark? Are you doing this? Did you do your sit-ups at home? Keep calling me. For the first 2 weeks, I hated this guy. I was like, this guy's the most annoying guy. He's almost like harassing me every day. Every time I'm looking at my phone, he's calling me early. If even my phone's off, I wake up in the morning, it'll be like a voicemail from him. I think I can't stand this guy. And his name is Steve Schwartz, very, very successful. And then the big turning point is one day, I'm still stuck. I'm like, wait a second. And I'm about to like go learn from someone else. I want to learn. I was like, I want to learn from someone else. I saw someone's course. I said, wait a second. Instead of buying a course, maybe whatever this person is telling me, the problem is not me. The problem is not him. The problem is me. So maybe instead of considering him being annoying, let me change my attitude and embrace what he's telling. So when he's pushing me, because he's proven, he's making multiple 6 figures. If he's telling me, do this, do this, do this, or who did you talk to, instead of like giving excuses, let me make sure I have what he's doing, what he wants from me. And that was the day that changed everything. So every time I say, hey, Simon, who do you have for this Friday? Do you have any phone call set up? Do you have any good prospects? Did you meet anyone new? Instead of like dreading that question, I was prepared. He's like, hey, do we have any customers, potential customers? Like, yeah, I got John, I got Elizabeth, I got Warren. I got everything lined up. And so, because I knew what he was going to ask me, I just did the work and had the answers for him before he even called me. And that got me into being consistent. Yes, yes. And so that's a big part of accountability.
Yeah, because I mean, you were describing earlier about how the fact that, being able to kind of use your skills, coach other people, train other people is really important to you now. And there are a lot of people out there who have great expertise. They've got great knowledge. They can coach, they can train, they can do all that. But they're like you were, they were stuck. They're not making money. They're not being able to kind of share this with people and earn a living out of it. What do you think, having gone through that process yourself, is the most common reason why you have a lot of people out there with courses, coaching programs, expertise, and they are just not making money off it?
Well, you gotta. My late mentor Jim Rohn told me you always get paid for the value you contribute to the marketplace, right? And so value is content, like this content that you're giving out, Mark, right? And it has to be consistent content. When I launched my second business, ML Nation, business trading company, we do a podcast. We've been doing it and today's Monday, launched another one, over 700 something episodes. Since I started, I have never stopped. Right. And now, especially doing social media, like back in the day, you did something you could hide for a while. Right. Now, social media, the good thing is anyone can be an expert. You can go and hit the record button right now and give value. Right. It's so easy. Back then, you need a platform. I need maybe speak in my local chamber of commerce. I need to go to an event. Now, anyone at home can hit that record button and give value. If you're listening to this, you have a lot of value, coaching expertise to give. Stop holding it to yourself. Give. So first thing is you got to give. Take what you learn, give it out for free, because people are not going to buy from you until they trust you. They feel they know you, like you, trust you. And that only comes from consistent content. And so that's number one, right? And what do you mean by when people know you, like you, trust you? Like people will follow me. They know my dog, what my dog's name is. They know what I do on my free time with my kids. Baseball. Like my voice is a little raspy today. I was in a baseball tournament, 2 baseball tournaments yesterday, 11 hours. That's why I do my passion, right? I coach, spend a lot of time with my boys coaching different teams. If your followers don't know what you like to do, don't know how many kids you have and what you like to do, there's no trust. So that comes from, the principle people buy from people know, like, and trust. You got to let people know who you are, right? And social media, do Instagram stories, do reels, do TikToks, LinkedIn, whatever, Facebook. Let people know you. The second thing is now because of social media, people only remember what you did today. So all the great stuff you did before, and I think I fell into this trap before, entitlement. I've gotten so much stuff. How come people not buying from me? Because people don't remember what you did today. They don't know. We have short attention spans. They don't remember what you did last week. That's why you have to put out consistent content every single day. Because the great TikTok that you did a month ago with 1 million views, no one remembers that. They only remember what you did today. What have you done for me lately? That's why you got to consistently create a routine. Give. Show up every day.
So when you're coming up with your social media strategy, are you consciously saying, okay, I'm going to do X number of posts, which are going to be value, but then I want to create this connection and trust. So I'm going to have a certain number of the baseball or the holiday or something like that. I mean, are you that conscious about the mix of content you put out?
Yeah, I'm pretty constant. I have a content calendar with the stuff I put out. I think if you're getting started in the beginning, don't think about the structure as much, right? Because that will limit your creativity. I always talk about the first 30 days on social media. If you have a goal like, oh, I'm going to generate a lot of sales from social media, that's a wrong goal. Because if the first 30 days you show up, chances are you're not going to make any money, sales from that. Because it takes repeated exposures. I'm sure you heard the marketing thing. It takes about 25, 27 exposures before someone buys, and probably a lot more than that now. So, but your first 30 days, instead of looking to get goals, look to discover your voice, right? Like your style. Like Mark, you have a certain style when you run your show, right? And you didn't discover that on day one. So when you're doing your first 30 days, I don't know what it is for everyone to do your personal stuff. I've gotten to the point where if I feel it's in my heart, I want to share something about personal, I do. But I always have something where every day I'm giving some type of value-based content where I'm teaching 7 days a week. And if I feel today, well, I had a great week, Father's Day, I had a great weekend, whatever, I'm going to share that. If I don't feel it's in my heart, I don't share. So I think that the answer to that question is don't limit your creativity by, oh, I got to do a personal post. Just give every day, and then you'll realize what works for you. And also, every niche is different. Like in my niche, it's very intensive where every day you have to be giving content. And some other niches are not like that. And you only discover that by working, posting consistently, seeing what your competitors and what your industry is doing.
To be honest, when you think about it, like anybody who's had any success, not just in this kind of field, but, even in something like baseball, you will not find anybody where consistency isn't part of the key ingredient. So coming back to the book, if somebody were to pick up the book and think, right, I just feel the consistency is the thing that's lacking, what do you think they'll get out of reading it? What are the kind of the main sort of approaches that you've gone for to try and get people to be more consistent?
Well, consistency, number one, starts with the mind, right? Everything starts with the mind. And it's how you see yourself, right? If you see yourself as consistent, you start becoming consistent. If you see yourself as growing and getting better, you can be motivated. If you see yourself, oh, I'm not a consistent person. I've never done this in the past. If you have like that negative attitude, you're never going to get anywhere. No, nothing will help you out. So it starts with the mind. If you're into sales, why I talk about 10 steps to rejection killer, right? Rejection. No one likes rejection, saying no, no one buys. And if you can't get over that or being emotionally consistent, where if you get excited so easily and will get down so easily, you're never going to be consistent. And actually, in fact, when I work with people and I see like new entrepreneurs say, oh, I'm going to hit to the top. They get so fired up, really energetic, like they get excited so easily. Most of the time, these people will never make it. Because if you get so excited by such a small thing, and a little rejection would just shoot you right down, right? So number one starts with the mind. I have like a daily EQ quiz, 6 questions you have to ask yourself each day that help you be aware of your emotions. Learning how to overcome rejection. Like I'll give you 1 or 2 steps to the rejection killers. Number one, if they're rejecting you, they're not rejecting you. They're rejecting your message, not you. And it's also not your loss, not you losing out on the customer. It's their loss because they lost out on a chance on learning from this. Because you have millions of billions of prospects, people, potential customers. But there's only one and only you, right? So it's their loss. So those are two things. And then the last part is, the big part of the book is the 7 components of the consistency system, where if you apply, the number one reason why people's goals fail, because as entrepreneurs, we like to set big goals. But for every goal, you need a consistency system in place. Because without that system, you're not going to reach that goal. And people are top achievers who do hit those goals, whether they're consciously aware of it or not, they're applying all 7 of these components to the goal they set.
And when it comes to your kind of productivity and organization, are there any particular kind of tools, platforms, apps, anything you use to help you?
2 of the, I use a lot of apps, but the 2 I just want to mention for free that anyone can access anytime is a calendar, right? Because going back to the 7 components, the first component is the checklist. If you want to be consistent, you got to be consistently, you have to have a checklist of what you need to do. Like Mark, you've been very consistent with the show, correct? Anything you want to be consistent with, you have a check. You have a checklist exactly what you need to do, right? You need to do a mic check. You need to the preparation checklist. The second thing is you need to create and schedule the time. For every new goal, you need to create and schedule the time. It doesn't matter how busy you are, you create and schedule time for the show. That's what you're doing consistently. So something that helps you, that a tool is a calendar. Use a calendar. You have to schedule whatever you need to do. You got to create and schedule the time and make it a routine. Because if it's not a routine, it's not going to happen. You're never going to happen because there's a thing called Parkinson's law, which basically means everything will fill into a vacuum. Right? Things will fill. An example of that, you move into a new house and you have a nice closet. Oh, I love this closet. I'm keeping it nice and clean. But after 2 or 3 couple of weeks, things magically just go in there and it becomes a huge mess. Right? That's like Parkinson's law. Or like you say, I'm going to do this the weekend. I'm going to clean the garage in the weekend. And all of a sudden the weekend, I have a lot of time in the weekend. I can do this. But all of a sudden the weekend comes and you haven't done anything. Because so unless you create and carve out that time, it's not going to happen. It's got to be in the calendar. Okay? So think about it. Do you exercise consistently? I'm just curious, Mark.
You know what? I did, and then I stopped, and now I am actually trying to get back into it. And as you say, trying to find a consistent time in the day. Because during COVID, I was in one place. It was kind of a little bit more predictable. Now I do a little bit of traveling, so it's getting less predictable. But yeah, I'm not doing it as much as I should. If that's the short, honest answer.
Yeah. So like, if you exercise consistently, I mean, going back to 2 of the components. Number 1, we talk about creating a schedule of time. You had a routine, right? During COVID, you had a routine. Now because you're traveling, the routine is changed. Then you lose the consistency. Right, so you just gotta be in the calendar, and you may have like I'm going to travel. When I travel, I have a different exercise routine during the day. Right. Another part is the environment. Right, your environment is very important. Where are you gonna be? So you talked about when during COVID, you're exercising consistently because you had a place to go. But when you're traveling, the environment changes. That totally can knock you off your consistency. So get in the calendar and strategically plan those things out. Like when you're, for example, you're exercising. If I'm at home, this is when I do it. If I'm traveling, this is what I do, and put it into that calendar. So that's a free tool anyone can use. I always talk about it. Treat your business like a job and your calendar is like your boss. Right? If it's not in the calendar, it's not happening. So put all your stuff, even your personal relaxation time, into that calendar. And so some people who are new to this, well, that's very restrictive. There's no freedom. But I tell you, if it's in the calendar, you're going to have more freedom than ever because you're going to get things done. And also when you're playing and relaxing, you actually become happier because you're not worried about the stuff because you got a lot more stuff done. You don't have to worry about the things that I should be doing. So, for example, I bookend my days from the morning I wake up to morning, everything, whether it's the baseball, my wife, or everything, it is in the calendar. The other tool is a timer, right? A timer creates urgency. So if we've always done this, I got to check a few messages or I got to check my emails. Next thing you know, you're spending 30, 45 minutes on emails and you haven't got anything else done. We need urgency, right? Urgency. So why is that? Is because we tend to be like, I always talk about the caveman DNA, right? Our DNA is like, we like to relax. We don't like to go. We like to sit on the couch and watch tube and relax, watching TV. Goes back to our caveman days. Our caveman days, we just want to sleep in a hammock all day. We will, the only time we will wake, the caveman will wake up was number 1, if we got hungry, we'll go out and get off our butts and go look for food. Or number 2, the tiger came, we'll get up and then we'll start running. Or number 3, someone came to steal our woman, we'll get up and fight. That's the only time we will the caveman will go up and wake up, right? So looking back to school in modern days, when do we When do we actually do our term papers? Remember term papers and essays? When do we used to do them? Last minute, right? If I remember the one time, every time I do a last minute, I was like, oh, this is terrible. I hate this. I'm never going to do it. And the next time, one time, we had a term paper assignment. I would do it 1 month in advance. And I'll sit there in the library for 1 hour. I'll write one sentence. Nothing, just yeah, but urgency, right? It's like when's the most productive day at the job? The most productive day of the job at work is the day before you leave for holiday. Right? When do you actually clean the house? The house is a mess. You know, you have no time, but you clean it the day before guest arrives. And all of a sudden, you get it cleaned right away. We need urgency. So you set this artificial urgency by using a timer. So when I check my emails, I say, hey, 10 minutes, I got to get all these emails done. If I don't get, and I use my Apple Watch, or you can use it on the phone, right? Every phone has a free timer. When the timer goes off, I'm not allowed to check the emails for another 2 or 3 hours. That will make you go fast. If you're posting social media, it's so easy to overthink. Oh, this filter's not good enough. Oh, I'm changing my words, my emoji. 15 minutes, I gotta get this post done. Once the timer's up, I gotta hit post. I cannot touch it again. That will allow you to push yourself. Using this, getting back to how we are. We need urgency. The artificial deadlines will allow you to go get more done in less time.
Yeah, it's funny how so many things come back to psychology because, at university, I studied journalism and psychology, and I went down the journalism route initially. But ironically, I always say to people, it's the psychology that helped more because so